line items and I've been cool with it, but I would
No, you
like
should
to have
get a
all that
copy of the
information.
operating.
'Cause
Let me
You
show
know,
you what it looks like.
I've got people that hand in money, our committee does a bunch of
Well,
stuff, so,
It's complex because
yeah.
Brenda doesn't always put the summer stuff in.
Well, that's what I mean.
We would like.
Line items and I've been cool with it, but I would
No, you
like
should
to
get a
have all that
copy of the
information.
operating. Let me show you what it looks like.
I've got people that hand in money, our committee does a bunch of stuff, so, yeah. I've been cool with it, but I would like to have all that information. I've got people that hand in money.
That's the problem. So that's.
that 30, we don't necessarily have to all of a sudden commit to lights. Obviously, we want them. But we're thinking at least we might be able to, put the infrastructure in where the light posts would be. So, you know what I mean? So like there is some work that could be done with that in the step towards
Right,
lights.
but the money itself goes to the town and then the town contracts the work.
I'll have to look
Well,
into that.
yeah, that's,
It's gonna
Probably
be,
not if you're using the 401(c)(3) from the Lions
well,
Club.
that's what didn't make sense, because it is actually
right,
recreation. I mean, it's work, I need to know more about that.
yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to do that if it's,
I mean, that's also goes through here.
okay. Some of these figures just went down because people moved into other jobs. Or came in and off the insurance. Medical insurance is up. Because people came onto it. We paid off, I want to point out, we paid off 8 North Main, so we don't have any interest or principal on that. So for this budget, we would have to take at a 2% tax hike. We'd have to take fund balance of 145, 275.40
In order to keep it down.
in order to keep it at 2%.
Have we included in this our planning consultants?
Well, that should be over by 2022. They're working for DERS. I mean, they are paid by DERS.
Okay, but what I mean, the work that we're doing,
That's all done.
that's all done.
It's done this year.
But we are gonna have, the,
Living
yes,
zoning review.
right, and I assume that would be using a consultant or not, I don't know.
Then I have to appropriate that money, I think, at the time,
Okay,
like maybe from fund balance.
okay.
And also the subdivision regs that they're going over, are they going over those?
The planning board is,
Okay.
you mean just to look at what,
I was wondering if we were using,
Well, we have
Yeah.
additional, legislation to do on the zoning. With the actual changes.
Mhm.
We just did the verbal changes
Not the map.
and
So-
not the map changes. And so that we have to
Right,
continue with
right.
that. That's not, it's
I'm
not that
hoping,
that should
extensive.
be done.
I'm
before
hoping
the
it's
end of
done
the
before
year.
the end of the year.
Okay,
That
yeah.
should come out of this
that would be
year.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
presenting at the next board meeting.
Great.
And the other question I had was raise fees, our engineering fees.
Mhm.
With the 2 major highway projects that we have.
Yeah,
That those fees should all be in a bond if we were to do a bond. Or
Well-
do they come out of the 10,000 or whatever we have?
his engineering fees come out of our budget.
Right.
For the special things, he's done a lot of that this year. So I'm not,
Yeah, we've been paying some bills.
we've been paying
We've
some
been
bills,
paying
yeah.
But for the actual projects, when he's overseeing
Right.
projects.
Right, that'll come out of that 10,000.
Okay. We've got the highway garage, we've got
Yeah,
the road projects,
right.
and
Voted up at our last meeting too. I don't think it requires too much money, but I kind of feel like we might want to make note of it regarding wrecking the beach there. Conversation we've had the last couple of years, but the bringing in of a small amount of fill and hiring the highway department to bring it into what are emerging stream beds that flow through the lawn there for what could be an annual maintenance of maybe a truckload or 2 of fill that goes in. I'm imagining.
To fix that drainage thing that you,
Well, there would be that. So we'd want to both stop, which would really take, if we could hire you guys, I think an hour or 2 to get down there and just divert water coming off of the parking area into the drainage ditch, that long ditch that runs out from the lake there. If you walk out on the lawn, you'll notice all these depressions where the water pools up, but they're really all connected as a stream when there's a lot of surface water as it flows towards the beach through the lawn. I believe we're allowed to do maintenance on that lawn. DEC doesn't mind maintenance as long as it's not big earth moving. But I think we haven't done it because we're afraid that we're not allowed to, but I think we are in fact allowed to.
Okay, great.
I don't think we need to ask for further permission. We know that the scope of what we're doing will not have a big impact.
Right.
And I think we should not even suggest to them about what we're up to, rather than we should just give them
Maintain it.
$1,000 or $2,000 a year to start bringing up the elevation out there by a few inches. Actually, is really all it'll take.
Well, in a normal year, I think that buildings and grounds, the amount we put down for that should cover that.
Okay, in my absence, so I do hope that we start this project of slowly bringing in that bill to see it come back up and rise out of the swamp.
Great.
So it's not soft when you guys walk out there. It's really discouraging, except for the high ground, which is only 2 inches higher.
Yeah.
It is not squishy.
Okay.
You don't enjoy swimming to the playground?
So I'm going to call that a kind of, I don't know, playground drainage.
And maintenance.
And
Maintenance. too.
Okay.
Really a maintenance issue.
Okay, great. Okay, everything else was pretty much the same. Now, let's see. Each salary, yep, okay, we got down to that. Highway was, for the most part, Heather's wish list. That will require 91,137 in fund balance. And there's 516 in her fund balance account at the moment, which may have to get used, some of which may have to get used for slope stabilization, because I think we can pay for the slope stabilization out of that.
I would say that's more than,
That was the $77,000 bid,
right,
the slope stabilization.
that's what the bid was
Mhm.
on Dixel.
Mhm. Yeah, I was too. That's why I should check this out, make sure this is right.
How much was it?
77,000.
What was Ray's estimate?
I don't remember Ray's estimate. There were a number of bids over 100,000, but not very high.
Because when we set up our fund balance accounts there, we do have a cap on. And that sounds like the cap is getting.
Well, we have a suggestion rather than a cap of 6 months. For
Right,
the fund
50%.
balance, yeah, 50%.
And so we're, with what you just said was our fund balance, we're roughly.
516 is, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be more this year, so, yeah, we need to spend some of that, yep. Okay, so this we've all looked at last time. And most of this change is either salary or medical insurance. Medical insurance went down because people left or didn't come on to the insurance. That, they could come on to it, which is always a fear. But
It just makes it an uncertainty.
it's an uncertainty, right? And the debt service on the bonds
Increase the
went.
buyout, it won't look so dramatic.
Increase the buyout with fiscal management. I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Have we checked with the school to see what theirs is,
They're what?
their buyout? Because we typically,
Their buyout. No,
because we were attaching our buyout to what theirs was.
ours is, I think, decent buyout. I haven't thought to change that.
Oh, well, I mean, I was just I know when it was set up, it was based upon what
What the schools
planned.
Yeah,
give.
it definitely was. I
Okay.
remember that.
Right, so I was just curious if we've seen that they've upped theirs or not.
I
No.
bet they're more generous. I think.
I don't know.
Are they, Heather?
I believe they are.
Yeah.
But that's when we last had the discussion, and that's what it was. And that was back in a while ago. What was it, $1,600?
Yeah, it's 16 a year.
We'll pay people not to take it. There was a question I had.
I was just going to point out the debt service on the bonds is
Mhm.
lower because we paid off a bond.
Last one thing about the truck, the equipment replacement that we discussed. I did put in there that we are going to be needing to replace one of our trucks soon. I just received word that we're looking at about a 2-year,
Delay.
yeah, until build date. So you order a truck and chassis, you're looking at a year for that, and then for it to be built with the body, you're looking at about another year. So while you probably don't have to pay for the piece of equipment up front, I urge you to seriously consider putting them into motion.
Yeah.
Because the further we wait, it's getting worse.
I believe we talked about that at the last budget meeting.
Okay, well, at some
Great.
point, we'll definitely need to move forward with obtaining estimates and bringing that to the table so it can be voted on. And that will definitely affect the interest on the bond service.
But in 2 years, when I take the bond.
Right.
Right,
Well,
okay.
unless they're, I'm not really sure what the last truck I purchased, we paid for the cabin chassis up front. And I don't remember when they required that, if there was a deposit on order or, I'm not.
Why
really
don't you
sure.
get that information?
I
for
Yeah.
us?
Because that was with CHIPS money, the last one, right?
No, the
No.
truck was purchased 150,000 out of the fund balance. and
Ah, okay.
100, we bonded or vice versa.
All right.
somewhere around there, But I'll get that information.
That would be a good idea.
What kind of truck is that one that you're talking about?
A 6-wheeler.
The 6-wheel? Okay. So that's pretty much what we talked about last time when we had the workshop. Lighting district is the same. It's always the same. Water district is pretty much the same, but we're going to have to add on a little bit for hydrant fees. So that appropriated fund balance is going to add about $5,500. And that is that. I had a couple things I wanted to ask you. Because we're making all these law changes, zoning law changes, the general code has to be updated. I don't think there's no law that says we have to update it. And the cost of updating it is over $5,000. So my thought was to absorb it into the next payment for the general code. We can do it at that time, but it won't go into the code online until the next time we pay the regular bill for keeping up the general codes, which is an online service. So it's kind of like, if we want to get it into the online service right now, it's going to cost us a fortune. And I just thought, let's just wait.
Absolutely.
Okay, because Drew has it. And
Is there any kind of a disclaimer
Mm.
on the code saying,
Not up to date.
not up to
necessarily.
date.
Don't count on this for being up to
Proceed
date.
with
Yeah, I don't know. But when I saw the bill, I was like,
And then there will be additional changes that will be coming.
yes, there will. So there's no, yeah, I think we just wait and just do it all at once. Just to remind us all, and I'm going to put this, paste this to my forehead. The ARPA funds, we have to decide what to do with them by April of 2022. So we don't we have till 2024 to spend it, but we have to make the decision of what we're going to use it for by April. So that's just another project.
You want to change your decision after you make that decision?
I don't know. It doesn't say anything about changing your mind. And this is the federal government, so I would imagine changing your mind is not. All right. Those are those two things there. Rancourt has held their brush and weeds bill for 6,000 for us, which I think is terrific.
And we did a lot more this year than
We did.
I was glad to see that it is for 2 days.
Yeah.
It's a minimum of 6, but it's for 2 days.
Yeah, I was grateful to them for that.
But that's a state bid, so they didn't do it just for us.
Yeah, okay, well,
Okay.
I'm still grateful. I'm always grateful when something doesn't go up. All right,
Did we have the tonnage for Liberta? Did we get it?
yes, we got the bill for Liberta. It was actually better than it was last year. I think it's about $2,100. It should be in the red folder. But I don't remember how many tons it was, but it was a lot. We had the equivalent of 5 dumpsters because those two of those were doubles. And they had to take it to Greene County.
Mhm.
So it's not as easy as going to Poughkeepsie. But very kind of Lenny.
Very nice. It makes for a great day.
It does. It
Yeah,
was
it's
a really fun day.
It's a really nice thing.
What kind of income do you see?
Well, it's not really income, but we took in little over 700
Okay,
in fees, and that'll just get applied to that 2,000.
that's what I mean.
Yes,
So
that-
it's actually.
It offsets it.
Like $1,400.
Exactly. Are there any other questions at this time? And if not, then I was going to suggest we go into executive session to discuss salaries.
And they're not public until first of the year. Right? Or do we make them public early?
I have to look that up, actually. I believe they're not public till the first of the year because that's when we finalize that decision.
Yes.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss salaries.
Right. And do you want to adjourn before?
Will
we be doing?
Nope,
that?
there's no decision we have to make tonight.
Right.
So we can adjourn before,
Yeah.
so then I have to move that we adjourn.
Well, somebody has to second my motion.
Okay, second her motion. I'm sorry.
It was a fine motion.
And then I move that we return from executive session.
Then I move that we adjourn after we. return
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
You have that, Madeline?
thank you very much.
Madeline, you can go.
Everyone may go home. And I'm going to let me get out of all of this
So
connection
those
here.
Sales tax revenues, those will persist.
They will,
Persist.
they will, and, you know, in the old days, people were avoiding those taxes. Now we get them.
Yeah.
So,
Do you remember when we instituted sales tax? It was a temporary thing
oh, was it?
Or was it a?
in Dutchess County at least. You know,
Oh.
Some of those, the idea was, is they didn't want to become dependent on it.
I see.